for some reason. I know that I'm an adult now. I have a 9 to 5 and we don't do summer like that anymore. There is something about reading in the summer that is still such a vision, even though I don't get to lay around all day reading anymore. But in all in all, I'll have to say that I'm gonna have a pretty slow summer this year. I don't have any travel plan, at least until the end of the summer, because I'm saving up both money and my pay time off for a trip to Vietnam, my home country. The last time that I went back was around the time that I started this channel too, so some of you guys may remember those footage too, with me being home. It's been 2 years now, and I'll do anything in my power to make that trip home. And those facts coupled together, me thinking that I have more time to read in the summer and I'm not traveling anywhere, intensify that fact, lands me at a dramione fanfiction summer TBR. The stuff that I put in here are mainly bright love and bubbly affairs, just everything romantic that you want to enjoy under the sun. Okay, first of all, of course, we are going to have Bloody, Slutty, and Pathetic by What Mother on my list. In my humble opinions, there's only 3 things that men should be, and that is bloody, slutty, and pathetic. And on a good day, Draco Malfoy can be all 3. When war heroine Hermione Granger and Azkaban tattoo war criminal Draco Malfoy are forced to wed as part of Succubult's controversial Reconciliation Act, they openly fight the match and each other. Their public brawls breathlessly report by the press. Secretly, a deeply traumatized Draco delights in Hermione's attention and pine for a real marriage with her, even as her forced proximity to the Black's family magic irritates the cursed scar Bellatrix left on her arm, reminding her why she can never truly trust or forgive him. Then Hermione discovers that Draco's blood will soothe the scar, and Draco is willing to trade his blood for her body. And everything delights that is put in here inside of the synopsis. When I first stumbled upon this fic, it was still a work in progress, but I just knew that I had to read the story. I've been keeping an eye on it for it to complete, but one of you guys, the wonderful friend that you are, commented on a video a couple weeks ago saying that the fic has now been complete the day prior. I had to drop everything and create a summer TBR immediately and put this on the #1 spot. Just from the synopsis, let's unpack together, because tattoo, Draco, forced marriage, marriage love story, every single side character that I adore, and they seems like they have an agenda. And if we go to the tag, enemy to lover, slow burn, pining Draco Malfoy, jealous Draco Malfoy, need I say more? This story is around 200,000 words with 21 chapters, and it's a little bit more than what I typically go for in the summer. And I just want to do something fast in the summer, like around 100 and 150k. But for this fic, like, I'll read any number of words. I feel like this fic is the newest it girl on the block for dramione fanfiction because everyone is talking about it, and honestly I haven't seen nothing else but praise for this fic. And I do remember the same movement that was done for Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love 2 years ago. The same thing is happening for Bloody, Slutty, and Pathetic by What Murder. Super high expectation for this fic. Almost scared to say that I have high expectations for a fic. I truly wanted to love this story, okay, and I just don't want it to turn out differently. Next is something that is super different. I don't think that I have ever seen such a premise and such a setup and such a format in dramione fanfiction ever. It is They Shall Not Be Named by Lanbior RT. I think that's how you pronounce the author name. Please correct me if I'm wrong. This story is an illustrated fairy tale, okay? 10 years post Hogwarts, Draco Malfoy and Hermione Granger have been secretly dating for a few months when they are swept into a dark current, teasing them to the relentless cycle of day and night. Enchanted together yet cursed to be apart, these two lovers have to rely on the help of friends and ancient magic to find a way to break free and reunite. Typically with dramione fanfiction, you will see that the storyline relies on the development of Draco and Hermione relationship, whether it's enemy to friend to lover or just straight from enemy to lover. And usually the angst that we see in dramione fanfiction is because they cannot confront their feelings and they are afraid to admit that they have feelings for their former bully or whatever that is. But in this story, we have an established relationship and they cannot be together. The angst that we have in here is going to be heartbreaking angst because we have lovebirds that can be together, star-crossed lover in here. This is different. And can we just take a moment to appreciate the art in this story? Because what, have you ever seen such a pretty, and I know that there's going to be more of these because it's an illustrated fanfiction, and the one thing that I always wanted to do with dramione fanfiction is see it. Story just check all the box for me. We have correspondence, love letters, romance, dragon sanctuary, curse and spell, and runes and magic. I feel like this story is going to be good for those of you who are interested in reading more about tales of magic and all that good stuff. Text here, I can tell that it's gonna focus a lot on magic. This story is around 87 words, 15 chapters, and you guys already know that the 70 to 80,000 word length is just my sweet spot with dramione fanfiction. I am almost so in love with every fic that is around this length that I have ever read, and I've made a video on those stories already, but I'm kind of anticipating that this story will go on that favorite list as well. Next, we have somewhat of a popular story here, and we have Love and Other Historical Accident by Pacific Rimbo. This story is a story that I almost waited just read in the summer. This is a historical romance with a little bit of influence and inspiration from Pride and Prejudice. You guys probably have read Pride and Prejudice before, and you guys just tell me if that is not the epitome of summer read, okay? I do have Pride and Prejudice right here in front of me on my bookshelf, but I struggle so hard with that story, you guys. I have to stop every second to look up vocabulary. I started it back in January and I almost never pick it up again because I just struggle so hard with it. So of course I'm going to find myself some alternative. If I cannot read the original blueprint, then I'm going to read Dramione inspired Pride and Prejudice. I've had another experience with Dramione historical romance before, and that is To Brew a Scandal by Star in Motion, and I adore that fic. And so I'm also thinking that I'm going to adore this fic too, because everything that's listed in here just kind of go up my alley. It's around 150,000 words, so right at the sweet spot that I'm looking for in the summer. Another thing that I want to show you guys is whenever you guys on AO3 and you guys see this collection section, it's like just feel, then you know that this is a fan favorite. And I know that it's not always a true indicator of how much you would like a fic or the quality of the fic, but at the same time it's typically a try and true method because people like it for a reason. Whenever I stumble upon a fic that just have like a chunk of collection, I know that people rate it very highly, and then I also have high expectation for it too. So okay, next we have something on the shorter side, and this is something by Green Flower Pot. I love Hermione Husband Checklist, and that is why I'm kind of exploring her other work as well, and I stumbled upon Castle Guard. Hermione lives a sheltered life behind castle wall, but her desire for adventure sometimes gets her in trouble. Draco Malfoy is a member of the Royal Guard, freshly off a highly decorated stint as an elite soldier. He thinks about Hermione a lot, but that's just because it's part of his job to protect her, right? From this synopsis alone, we already have Pining Draco written explicitly by the author herself, and book is Hermione. And the reason why I kind of put it in here is because I know that I'm gonna spend my whole summer reading Dramione, so I'm almost sneakily putting in some alternative universe in here just to switch up the point of view a little bit so that I don't get bored. This story is around 33,000 words with 12 chapters, and I feel like Green Flower Pot typically just write shorter story too, so if that's the length that you guys are looking for, maybe check out this author because I love their writing style. In the tank we have Banter, Soldier Draco, Draco in uniform because that is going to be a delight to read in the summer. I feel like it's just like her joyful, bright, bubbly vibes that I catch in this synopsis and this tag, so I feel like I'm gonna have a good time with it. Now next is a one-shot, and I feel like this is going to be a perfect bedtime read for me, and you guys already know that I read one-shots before I go to bed. We have It's Just Science by Orlin. Story is what I stumbled upon in a Reddit thread about Draco's hand that I told you guys about. I was on Reddit looking for recommendation, and I stumbled upon this thread that talked about his hand, and I have to pull up every single recommendation in that list because I just have a thing for hand. But this story is Hermione exploring or experimenting, should I say, about Draco's rose sleeve. So we have a rose sleeve agenda in this story, and we also have a delightful girl friendships between Hermione, Ginny, and Pansy. I feel like we don't typically see Hermione's girl friendship in Dramione fanfiction a lot. I just feel like she is missing on that girls friendship that Ginny and Pansy can offer, and I always love to see Pansy in Dramione fanfiction too. I feel like if Draco deserves a redemption arc, then so does Pansy. This story is only around 9,000 words, and like I say, it's a perfect bedtime story for me, and also something that I can read in between fics too if I feel like it. Okay, next is something that I'm not going to read the synopsis for you guys because it was such a tongue twister, but we have The Trial and Tribulation of Draco Malfoy Employment by Lady Ursa. Now I feel like a lot of people say that this story reminds them of the vibes of Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love, and I think that the author has drawn inspiration from that story as well. With what she has written in the author's note, we have a post-war story, I feel like, with Pine and Draco. We also have rom-coms, enemies to friends to lover. Seems like they have to work together towards something, so it's kind of right up my alley whenever they have to go on an adventure and they have a common goal. Again, this story is around 200,000 words, 29 chapters, so it's a little bit longer as well. The writing is going to be super high quality just by looking at the synopsis alone. I'm honestly intrigued by the synopsis and I feel like it's something that I would love, but I've heard mixed feeling about this story and that's why I'm kind of curious. And this story also has a podfic, it seems like, so for those of you who want to listen to your fanfiction too, that's an option. The next story we have is also a little bit longer, The Hardness of Hurt by Willowing Scribe. I know that Willowing Scribe is some of you all favorite dramione fanfiction author, and I have not read anything by this author before, and so I'm super excited to start this story too. Hermione, driven to become Minister of Magic, reluctantly joins a matchmaking agency only to discover Draco Malfoy is her top match. Firmly rejecting the idea of marrying her former bully, Hermione is forced to reconsider when their paths intertwine in unforeseeable ways. But what started out as a simple match of convenience soon turns into more. Their strong connection catching Hermione completely off guard. She starts to question everything she thought she knew about Draco Malfoy. I know that we already have a marriage law story at the beginning of the video with Bloody, Slutty, and Pathetic, but this story is kind of like a marriage of convenience. With marriage law story, they would typically be fighting their match, or at least Hermione would be. But which marriage of convenience is different because they all have their incentive to marry the other person. I'm almost looking for where the lies end with marriage of convenience and when the truth begins with their feelings. And we all know how strong their feeling is and how good they can lie about the strong feelings that they have. That's like the delight tag that's kind of drawn me in, is sharing a bed. And I know this is just like so basic, so lame, but whatever. Like, I just love to see them in force proximity, and the best of all force proximity is a bed. So okay, last 3 words in my TBR for this summer is all by My Delphi. I'm exploring other My Delphi work just because you guys know how much I love Osculum. And one of you guys in the comment has said that you're starting to love My Delphi a lot and exploring their other works, and so I'm trying to do the same, and that's why I pull up all of her other work and putting it on my TBR. The first one we have is Tool, which this story is a little bit different too because Draco is a single dad and he has Scorp already, and he is trying to woo Hermione and get her as a present. He wanted to give Scorp a mother, and this story is only about 44,000 words with 8 chapters, so it's on the shorter side. I can just fit this in between my longer fic. From the synopsis and everything else, it seems like this is going to be such a fluffy and bright story that I'm just anticipating that I'm gonna have a good time with it. And the last 2 by My Delphi that I put on here are both work in progress, but both of the premise has intrigued me so much. So we're gonna go through it. The first one is A Little Liquid Look by My Delphi. In this story, we have a pure blood Hermione. So she is Hermione Duckworth Granger. She is trying to work together with Draco because she's mad at Harry for using or cheating in the 6-year potions with Snape book. I've never read a pure blood Hermione story before just because I personally think that kind of defeats the whole purpose of Hermione. But if anyone would be able to convince me otherwise, I feel like My Delphi would be at the top of the list. She writes as if she is using my own Hermione ultimate spell. So I feel like I'm excited for this fic because it's a very good way for me to experiment with tropes that I haven't done before. We have my beloved author. I already know that I'm gonna love her writing style, and the rest of the text seems familiar enough to me. The last story that we have in my TBR is Sacramentum by My Delphi. 5 years after the war, Hermione Granger has very little time for something like a relationship. She's far too busy trying to run for the borough for endangered creature efficiently, dealing with budget cuts and ignoring ministry officials, and finding a way to somehow restore her parents' memory, who are still in Australia and none the wiser about the existence of their daughter. When she discovered that the Whiskermott plans to use Draco Malfoy as a scapegoat whilst dealing with elusive Voldemort's loyalists, she offered to testify for him. She's not quite sure how it led to her trying on wedding dresses under the watchful eyes of Narcissa Malfoy. We have slow romance, marriage of convenience, marriage contract, getting to know each other in the text here, and this story is a long fic. It's already at 235,000 words with 26 out of 30 chapters posted. I feel like the other stories by My Delphi are all shorter, so I'm kind of excited to see how My Delphi writing would fit into a longer fic too. That's why I'm keeping an eye out on this, and I have like a My Delphi tab open on my phone just because I wanted to see when it's complete. That's all that I'm gonna read for the summer, and of course, as always, I hope that you guys have a good time hanging out with me, and every minute that you guys watch my video and hang out with me matters so much to me. Thank you guys for being here, and of course I will see you in the next video.